Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Our son is down here currently playing, so if you hear him, that's what you're hearing.
Yep.
This is my husband Danny. This is actually his first time on my channel, literally ever. Actually, I mean, he's been like in vlogs.
Yeah, I've been to certain vlogs.
But he's never sat down and talked with us, so I'm so excited. This is my man, this is my husband, this is my best friend. He's like literally everything to me. If you know me in real life, you know this is my person. So today we're gonna be doing a video because on a hi buddy. So today is Friday, and on Monday we are celebrating our 4-year anniversary.
4 years.
I literally cannot believe it. 4 years of marriage. We've been together for 8 years, right?
Yep.
8 years. So I got married, or when we got married, I was 21, right? And
yep,
you were 20? Yeah, and he was 20. So
she's a cougar.
No. So anyway, we're just gonna be talking about getting married young and if we regret it, and just like getting down in the details. Like, not really talk about much of the story. If you guys want a story time of how we met, how we got married, how that whole thing happened, let me know. But this is just more about the 4 years of marriage and how it's been and where we are today, if we regret anything. And yeah, so let's get into the video. First, I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna put you on the spot. What has it been like being married for the past 4 years?
I would say challenging, but rewarding.
Yeah.
I would say within the first year and a half of my marriage, like it was pretty difficult. Without a doubt, there were a lot of arguments. Just over the smallest things, and we still argue sometimes over the smallest things, but not nearly as much as we did when we first were married. And I think it was just a transition of just like moving in together, like completely different lifestyles in many manners, and just kind of merging both of those together and like actually creating our own, but also too respecting like certain boundaries and certain things that we had going on in our own households, and like just becoming accustomed to those differences as well.
Yeah.
So I think the first year and a half was pretty, overall it wasn't horrible, but it was challenging for sure. Had really good moments, but also had some down moments as well.
Also financially it was rough as well.
Yeah, but looking back at it, like you know, it was rough, but it's funny. I feel like we didn't talk about money as much as we did now.
We didn't.
And we have more money,
we didn't.
Abundantly. So it's just like
I don't think we had expectation for how much money we would have at that time.
Yeah.
I think now that we're a little older.
Quick, I mean.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would say challenging but rewarding. Rewarding in the aspect of like we both were willing to put in the work to make a lot of those adjustments. You know, we're not 100% perfect, and some of those things that we still probably talk about to this day or have discussions about, maybe even argue about. But I would say like for sure it's gotten better. Yeah,
I feel like every year has gotten better. We know each other more than we did when we were in year 1 of marriage, I would say. Would you say that we're more in love now after year 4, or
yes.
Were we more, really?
I would say we were in a puppy love stage.
Infatuated with each other.
We infatuated with each other, you know. We were infatuated with each other, you know, while we were dating, even in the first part of our, you know, marriage. But I would say, especially ever since like having little man right here, is rekindled, like even just some of those feelings and intensified it even more. So in a way, I feel like we're like back to our dating way, especially as of recently. So yeah. I feel like for me the first, if I had to answer the same question of what has it been like for the last 4 years being married and like being young, I feel like it's just a lot of adjusting, I would say. I feel like a lot of people when we first got married were like, you don't know what you're like, you don't know who you are, right? Like you don't know what you're doing, you don't really know who you are, like how are you going to give yourself to somebody and like be married? And I think partially that's true. And I feel like nobody truly ever stops learning about themselves. I feel like for us, we did have a huge learning curve. I agree that it's been challenging but rewarding, but if I had to describe it like in other words, I would probably say a huge adventure. I think that we've done a lot of adventuring. We've like learned a lot about each other, about ourselves. It's been like so fun doing life with him. I met him when he was 17, so like 17 to now he's about to be 25. Like that's a big change.
Like, that's a big change.
But I do want to ask you, do you regret getting married?
No.
At 20 years old?
No, because I mean, our original plan was to be married at 22. That plan wouldn't have changed. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not tripping. And like, we got married on July 17th to be exact, which is less than a month from my 21st birthday. So, I mean, I basically got married when I was 21. No,
that's still really young though.
Yeah, it's still really young, but in the grand scheme of things, like, I've had that question go through my mom, especially when we first got married.
Really?
Because we had our challenges. I was like, man, like, did we get married too young? You know, I mean, obviously, like, we were hearing the external influences or whatever of other people. But yeah, that question went through my mind, you know, at times, for sure. But I think that as time went on, and like, I mean, just seeing from my friends and family was like, man, nah, these streets ain't for me. I was like, there's too much going on. There's too much trying to, like, you know, it's funny, people talk about, oh, you know, you have to find yourself, you know, while being married and this and that. But I feel like what people don't realize is that there's a huge transition and like adulthood. And like with the dating culture now is very toxic. And if we've been honest here, like a lot of people really aren't finding themselves in regards to like, yeah, like truly finding themselves. Like, so if they're engulfed in this dating culture, you're not really finding yourself at this point. It's a very, very toxic dating culture from what I see.
Yeah,
in America. I don't know about worldwide.
I just had a thought when you were talking, and I'm like, finding yourself before you get married, and then you get married, and you're gonna have to completely change yourself again. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we knew ourselves in whatever way we could at 17 and 18 years old, and 20 and 21 when we got married. But like, we were so like moldable at that age. Like, we were willing to like put in the work and kind of like mold into one, like, and really be just like a united front and really be like intertwined with each other in a way that I think is just super vulnerable. But I think like we still get chances, we still are finding ourselves, but at the same time, like, I feel like it was pretty easy for us to, I don't know, just like become one, because we didn't have such a strong like idea of who we were, I guess, if that makes sense. Like, we did, but at the same time, like, we weren't 30 years old. We hadn't been in our careers and all of this stuff. And then it doesn't matter what age you get married at, you're gonna have to change, and you're gonna have to like find yourself again. You're gonna have to find yourself again as a wife. You're gonna have to find yourself again as a mom or as a dad. Like,
and I mean, you know, just from my experience, just seeing like older couples and older people that get married when they're like 30 plus, there are a lot more things that go into play, you know, especially if both of you all have established a good career. Then we're talking about prenups. We're talking about all these other little things, as if, I mean, compared to if you were to get married young, not as young as we did, you know, like 2021, but maybe 24, maybe 23, you know, you're just now getting out into the corporate world or whatever you're doing entrepreneurship wise and building yourself. But I feel like as you get older, you know, into your late 20s, early 30s, you've established some things. And so I feel like in this modern world that we live in, there's a lot more intricacies to consider when dating and then marrying that same person that you're dating as you get older. I believe that is an advantage of getting married younger, is just not having all those other things to necessarily think about. But on the back end as well, you know, people do change, you know, as time goes on. And so, you know, check in with us from 10, 15 years later from now. But I personally don't think it's going to change significantly from what I feel now. But hey, you know, I'm not God. I don't know what I'm, you know, but I can say at the core, I just believe that we made the right decision overall. And yeah, I don't think we got married that young, because our original plan was to really get married at 22 anyway. So, which is still considerably young. So yeah, that's my perspective on it.
Yeah, I don't know if I would advise other people to get married in the circumstances that we got married in. But as far as the age thing, like, I don't think so. I think once you find your person and once you know that the person you're with is the one, I don't see why there's a need to wait. I think I was a senior in college, and like, well, we both were seniors in college, and I just didn't think that it was too young. I didn't feel too young. I felt like I was ready to be married to this man, and I felt like I was ready to start a life with him, and I knew that he was the one. And we were waiting until marriage to have sex. So I feel like from a Christian point of view as well, if you are trying to not have sex before marriage, I think that like tempting yourself for longer just to check all these boxes is maybe not always the godly thing to do, the best thing to do. I think nowhere in the Bible does it say that you have to have a job making 50K, that you have to have $20,000 saved up, that you have to have a house, that you have to have all this stuff to be married. And I think that that's a very worldly view that we were almost forced to interpret, or like, and I just feel like that, I don't know, I felt then and I felt now that it's just not true. I think that we got married with none of that. We got married with like no savings. We got married, I made what, like almost maybe 16 an hour at the time, yeah, working part-time, and then you made 15 an hour part-time, and
600.
We made it work. We made it work, and we never had to really ask anybody for anything, and we just figured it out. And I think you just figure it out regardless. I think whether you make a bunch of money and you're super established when you get married, you're still gonna have to figure stuff out. So
choose your heart.
Yeah,
choose your heart.
For sure.
You know, both routes are going to be hard. Choose them. Choose which one.
We did do premarital counseling and a bunch of other stuff to prepare for marriage too. So like, yeah, if you want another video on that, we can do that. But don't just jump into it, because it is hard and it is rough. But like, we're just saying you can make it work, yeah, if you want to make it work. But
what was your question?
I was saying, do you regret not being able to have any other experiences, have any other girlfriends, have any other sexual partners or anything like?
Well, I have had other girlfriends.
Okay. Do you guys count other girlfriends? Like, if you were in like middle school and you had a girlfriend that you dated for like maybe a month,
and high school,
does that count? Does that count? Because I've had other relationships too, but I do not count them. I
just think if you at any point in time you kiss another person and you go around the school holding hands, you're dating.
Okay.
There's like you kiss, you know.
So you feel like that was enough experience, holding hands and kissing in the halls?
I mean, texting, calling.
Babe.
I mean, that was the basis of our relationship. You know, besides spending outside time with each other outside of school.
I'm saying, as an adult, you're 20 something now, so you're not going to be holding hands and kissing somebody in the hallway. You would have a full blown relationship.
Yeah, but I can't.
So I'm saying, do you feel like you missed out? Do you feel like you? Let me know. Everybody knows this. Everybody's heard that. Everybody said you have to try things out before you have to test drive. You have to like, you're gonna, I remember when we were about to get married, everybody's like, you're gonna like only be with one person for the rest of your life when he's literally been your only boyfriend. Like, you're not gonna feel like you're missing out. You're not gonna feel like,
some people said that. Not everybody.
A lot of people said that to me.
I mean, I would say from that perspective, like, no, like I said before, like looking at it now as an adult, like I don't want to be out here in these dating streets. Like, you know, I believe in test driving cars, but I don't know if I believe in test driving relationships, right? Like, I think that I don't know. It's so many factors that goes into it. I don't know. It just probably comes down to your personality, your perspective on certain things in life. For me, I was never the type of person to just want to date around. Like, I had my fun time.
We weren't very curious.
I wasn't so curious to the standpoint of, like, you know, being a player, like going around just, you know, playing girls and doing all this and that. Like, I always wanted to be in a serious relationship to the point to where I would consider that person that I would. You know, hey, can I get married to her? Can I be engaged to this girl or to this lady? That's always been like my serious input on relationship. So no.
Like, you know, when we were going off to college, even in high school, people were like, you know, like, don't take it too seriously. You know, you just gotta break up. You just separate your ways and you find other people and you kind of just like test it out. You never heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, like people were trying to convince us that even in high school, it was like, once they go off to college, like they'll, you know what I mean, like, probably weren't going to still be together.
I mean,
we weren't going to the same college.
No, we were like over an hour away from each other, about an hour away. And I would say that that was a concern for us, especially a concern for me, like going to college. I was like, okay, well, we'll see how this
maybe you meet
really
another
goes.
girl.
And like, another guy, like
That would be so sad.
But I mean, I just think looking back at it, for that first semester or two, like there was doubt in my mind. I was like, man, like, are we really gonna make it? Because I think at that time we were kind of starting to get frustrated with each other a little bit, or more so you probably get frustrated with me, because at that point I still didn't have a car up until what, September, October of 2018.
Yeah.
No, not 2018, 2016, 2016. And so yeah, like there still was just some things in which I was like, wow, I really don't know if this is
I think it was weird also because like I was super busy because I went off to a university. He stayed to go to a JUCO. And for me, I was like in organizations, I was like doing all the things, and I remember him being like, hello, like you're not gonna answer your text, like, because before that we were in high school doing the same things pretty much, so like we were always together, we texted all the time, like there was no gap. But then I was like making my own friends, having my own experience, and I feel like that was kind of weird too, you know?
Yeah, and let's just be real here, like at the end of your life or nearing the end of your life, like no one's going to care about how many people you slept with or how many people you dated. You know, it's funny, like I see people now talk about, oh yeah, I slept with her and her and her, or I slept with him and him. Like, so this is what the dating scene is like. That's what it's really about, you know, to a degree. And I know everybody in the dating world is not like that, but a lot of people I've seen, they are. And just like, it's immature. And so I just think that as an adult now, from what I've seen in the dating world, and even from when we were still dating, I was like, nah, like I don't know if I really want to be caught up in that. You know, that's a lot. That's a lot intangibles. You got to try to find out. You get dating apps or whatever, and then you got to think about that person's past, and then they got to think about my past. There's a lot of, you know, as you get older, you have more experiences. There's a lot of play.
How did you know that at 20 years old you wanted to be married to me, and that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with me?
I knew based on the trials and tribulations that we went through in that time period. You know, before that I had a very strong feeling that you were going to be my wife, but I would say that year and that time period really solidified that for me. Now, did I want to get married at 20? No, we both didn't. We both were extremely nervous. That was not the plan at all. And so, like, Shay could tell you, like, I was nervous as heck. I was like, oh man, like, I even told her, I was like, almost backed up out of that thing. I was
almost, you did.
Well, if I backed up out of it, we wouldn't be here today.
He gave me the ring back.
It's a whole other conversation. But, you know, yeah, it was a very, very trying period. But surprisingly, our relationship, like, man, we banded together. And I don't know if it's just because we're two stubborn people. I don't think so. I think that we had our convictions. And our personalities in a way do match. We have very different personalities, but at the core, I'd say a lot of it matches.
Our morals.
Our morals, and like, hey, like, you know, we're not going to be bullied. Like, we're not going to, you know, hey, like, if this is wrong, and, you know, whatever. And so I think it just came down to, like, during that time period and during that year, I was like, yeah, she's the one. And even before that, like, going through the premarital counseling thing, just going through all these little small things, it's like, okay, yeah, like, she's wifey material for sure. Yeah, I mean, so did you want to be married this young, you know, at this age, or did you want to experiment around at some point?
No, I definitely thought that my age I wanted to get married was 25.
Yeah, I mean, we both,
like, in my head I wanted to get married at 25.
We talked about that.
So we got married we ended up having a kid even before my 25th birthday. Like, we fast tracked that joint. But I think I knew I wanted to get married because I don't think that I genuinely thought that I would not meet anybody as amazing as him.
No.
Yeah, like, I didn't want to chance it. Like, for what? Like, why would I try to find somebody else? Like, he was everything to me. Like, literally got me through so many hard times and was just there by my side. Like, I just didn't understand. Like, I literally hit the jackpot, I feel like. Like, I got so lucky to find my person in high school, and I was just like, I'm gonna rock with him. Like, if he's gonna rock with me, like, I'm gonna rock with him. And like, why? What else would I do? Like, there wasn't even a thought in my mind that I would be with somebody else. Like, there were guys in my college that I thought were cute, and I was like, but I never went past that. Like, I think I never went past like, oh, he's cute. Like, that doesn't mean I want to be with him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think you know when you know, and I think, yeah, that's just it.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay, we're almost done. This is gonna be our last question. Yeah.
If there's anything that you would change, you know, leading up, well, I don't say leading up to our marriage, but if there's anything that you would change up until this point in our marriage, what would that be?
Honestly,
not a regret.
This is gonna sound so superficial, but this is the first thing that comes to my mind, and he said only one thing. So literally the one thing that I would change is to have a wedding. Like, and that was the very beginning of our marriage. That's the only thing I regret. I feel like we don't have any wedding photos. I've never worn a wedding dress.
Yeah.
I've never walked down the aisle to this man.
Because of COVID.
Was it because of COVID? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
We were getting married in 2020.
Yeah, I never had a wedding. I never got to walk down the aisle. I never got to do any of that. And that, to this day, literally still makes me so sad. Because we're so experienced now. I just think it would have been so beautiful to literally walk down the aisle to you. And I know we both would have been sobbing. You know, like, when we were young, when we had no clue what was ahead. Like, now, yeah, we're going to do a vow renewal. But, like, we've already been married for so long that, like, it's not going to be as special. Like, it'll be special, but we'll have kids with us, and like, it won't be that fresh, like, oh, I'm so excited for this new journey. Like, we've already been married. So I don't know. I bet, like, COVID, yes, but like, we definitely could have had an outdoor wedding, literally, like, a small thing. Like, we could have done it. Like, we just didn't.
I mean, hey, we can go to the courthouse unmarried, have a wedding, and then remarry. It's all a mindset. Ow, and some papers.
Okay. Anyway, if there's anything that you would change in our marriage so far, or that you would do differently, or you feel like would have had a better outcome, what would it be?
Would have stayed in North Carolina.
Oh wow.
But I would say that, yeah, I think staying in North Carolina a little bit longer probably could have provided some clarity.
Clarity. We would have had a house by now.
Potentially. But I would say, like, moving to North Carolina was an eye opener for me. You know, she's from there, so I mean, she probably can't speak to Charlotte, but she can speak to the overall state as a whole. But for me, it was such an eye opener in regards to, like, what I was missing out on in regards to just different experiences. And up until that point, we were still well traveled. We traveled pretty much most of the U.S. or a good portion of the U.S. and all that. But living somewhere was different. To Texas, and I still like Texas a lot. I love Texas, but North Carolina was different. So I think that's the biggest decision, to move back here, I think, prematurely. Yeah. Now I didn't hate moving back here necessarily overall, but just looking back at it, I don't think it was the right time to move back to Texas. If we were going to move back to Texas, maybe if we would have stayed in North Carolina, we probably wouldn't consider it. I mean, at that point, we really wasn't considering, at least for the foreseeable future.
Okay, one last thing very quickly, just very quick, rapid fire. No long conversation, nothing. Okay, what's your favorite, it's our anniversary, so what's your favorite memory of the last 4 years?
Oh wow, that's huge.
You gotta hurry up.
Man, okay, right off the top of my head, St. Thomas.
St. Thomas, our baby moon. Oh, when this baby was in my tummy. This baby was in my tummy.
Yeah, first island experience for me. Man, island life is completely different than beach life. And Florida is beautiful. Been in Florida several times now, but man, it's still different. It's just overall.
Okay. My favorite memory so far of our marriage, like trying to have Denton.
mean, I feel that. I mean, shoot, that was a very close second to me, but I just loved the overall, just like the baby moon scene, all on the beach, like, and then like the island life, like it was beautiful. But then I mean, I like.
No, I didn't say Havington. I said Conceivington.
Oh, that was a favorite memory.
Yeah.
Okay.
That time period was so good.
You said what? What?
Anyway, okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video.
Thank you.
I hope you really enjoyed it. This is the first time we've done this, so if you guys want more videos like this, let me know. We'll end it on a good note and give me a little anniversary kiss.
Subscribe down below.
And subscribe and like this video if you liked it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.